The quiet hum of the big room where people watched the stars was normal. Screens showed maps of space, dots moving slowly. Then, a sharp sound cut through the quiet. A light flashed red on a screen. A young woman named Kate Riley jumped a little in her seat. Her fingers moved fast over the controls. "Getting a signal," she said, her voice tight. "It's weak. Really old format. Coming from ... nowhere. Not on any map." An older man, Daniel Shaw, walked over. He was important, an admiral. He looked serious. "Nothing should be out there, Kate." "What does it say?" Kate worked to make the broken signal clear. Words and pictures appeared, fuzzy at first. They showed a green planet under attack. Big ships in the sky fired bright weapons. Cities burned on the ground. The words were desperate. "Under siege ... Novatuli Dominion. Shields failing. Help us ... Viridia. Queen begs aid ... Double quotes. The signal stopped. Viridia. Never heard of it. And Novatuli. They're bullies, always pushing smaller worlds around." He felt a cold worry. How long ago was this sent? Kate checked. The signal itself. Maybe a month old. The way it's sent. ... The technology. ... It looks centuries out of date. Like finding a message in a bottle. Daniel knew they had to understand. Find out everything. Now, he turned to another woman nearby. "Laura Vance, dig deep. Find Viridia in the old records." Anything. Laura Vance was very smart, always looking at old data. She nodded, her eyes already searching through huge computer files of history. Hours passed. People brought Daniel reports about the signal path, guesses about Viridia's location. It was far away, very far. Then Laura made a small sound. "Admiral Shaw. I found it." Her voice was quiet but strong. Everyone looked. She showed pictures on the big screen, old pictures. One was a spaceship, the Wayfarer, crashing onto a green wild planet long ago. Next picture. Rough shelters. People from the Wayfarer, looking hurt and tired, being helped by other people. These other people looked poor, simple. They shared food, water, built shelters together. They looked human, just like Terrans. "The Wayfarer," Laura explained. "It's lost, presumed destroyed 278 years ago. It didn't blow up, it crashed. Here." She pointed to a name on an old star chart. "Viridia." Daniel stared. "Survivors. They made contact." "Not contact," Laura said. "Rescue." The Wayfarer survivors lived with the Viridians for almost 3 years. The Viridians were barely surviving themselves. It was hard. But they shared everything they had. They helped mend bones, find food, build shelters. They protected them, she showed an old report. Words written by the Wayfarer's captain after a rescue ship finally came. "We owe our lives to the kindness of the Viridian people. They asked for nothing. They gave everything, though they had little. We will never forget this debt." Daniel read the words slowly. Never forget. He looked back at the new signal, the burning cities, the call for help from Viridia's queen. The desperate words echoed the old captain's promise. He called a meeting with the other important leaders of Earth, the Hegemony Council. He showed them the old pictures and the new, desperate signal. He read the old captain's promise. "Viridia." One council member asked. "It's a speck. No resources we need. Fighting Novatuli is dangerous. Why risk ships' lives for this?" Another pointed at the old picture of the Viridians sharing food. They look primitive. Probably still are. What use are they to us? Daniel Shaw stood very straight. He felt the weight of the old captain's words. Saw the burning cities in the new signal. "It's not about use," he said, his voice low but clear. "It's about memory. It's about what we are." Pointed at the screen, showing the desperate call for help. "Centuries ago, when we were lost and weak strangers on their world, those people helped us. They shared their last scraps. They saved Terran lives. They asked for nothing then." He paused, looking at each council member. "Now they are weak. They are being crushed." They called for help, not because they expected, but because they remember the story passed down, the story that Terrans might remember kindness. He slammed his hand gently on the table. "We do remember. That promise. We will never forget this debt." It wasn't just words on paper. It's who we are supposed to be." He looked at the image of the Viridian queen, her face filled with fear and fading hope in the broken signal. "They sheltered us when we were weak. We are strong now. We remember. We repay." He took a deep breath. "We must answer." The room was quiet. The old pictures of shared hardship and the new pictures of burning cities hung side by side. A promise from centuries ago seemed to echo. Finally, the head of the council spoke. "Admiral Shaw is right. Humanity never forgets a kindness." She looked around. All in favor of sending help to Viridia? One by one, every hand went up. The decision was made. Earth would answer the call. Daniel Shaw turned away from the council. He walked quickly back to the big room. "Kate, Laura," he ordered, his voice now sharp with purpose. "Plot the fastest course to Viridia. Ready every ship that can fight, every transport that can carry aid. Mobilize the fleet. We are going." He looked at the star map, finding the distant that was Viridia. "Tell Viridia, tell their queen, ... Terra is coming. The debt is remembered." Smoke filled the sky over Viridia's capital city. It blocked the sun, making day look like a dirty twilight. On the ground, people hurried through broken streets. They carried water, medicine, or helped the hurt. The loud booms of enemy weapons shook the ground often. Each boom made buildings tremble and dust fall like rain. In a room deep under the royal palace, the Queen of Viridia looked at a map. Her face was tired, her clothes simple and dusty. A man in a torn uniform pointed at the map. "They hit the eastern shield generator again, Majesty. It won't last much longer. Without it." He didn't finish. They both knew. Without the shield, the big enemy ships in space could burn the whole city. "We must move more people underground," the Queen said, her voice rough but steady. "Use the old tunnels near the river." "We are, Majesty," the man replied. "But there isn't enough food down there, or clean water." He looked down, ashamed. "We can't protect them forever." The Queen placed a hand on his arm. "We protect them as long as we breathe, Captain. That is our duty." She looked at the map at the shrinking area marked as safe. Hope felt like a small, cold stone in her chest. Later, alone for a moment, the Queen touched a worn piece of cloth kept in a small box. It wasn't fancy. It was rough and plain. An old story passed down with it. Her great-great-grandmother had told it. Long ago, people from the stars crashed on Viridia. They were hurt and lost. Viridians back then were poor, struggling to survive in a wild land. But they shared their little food, their scarce water, their simple shelters. They helped the strangers heal. Years later, another starship came for the strangers. As they left, their leader gave this cloth. He said, "Keep this. If darkness ever finds you, call. Terra remembers kindness. We will answer." The Queen had sent the call weeks ago, using the old directions woven into the cloth's pattern. She used precious power they couldn't spare. But only silence came back. Now holding the cloth, she whispered, "Was it just a story? Did anyone hear?" Outside, another boom shook the palace. Dust drifted from the ceiling. The small stone of hope felt heavier. High above Viridia, General Marcus watched from his huge ship, the Iron Fist. He saw the smoke, the fires. He smiled. His soldiers, the Nova Thule Dominion forces, were strong. Viridia was weak. Its old weapons were no match. On a screen, Marcus spoke to the leader of the ground troops attacking the city. "Push harder," Marcus ordered. His voice was like sharp stones. "Break their spirit. I want the Queen kneeling by sunset tomorrow." The soldier on the screen looked worried. "General, the people fight fiercely for every street. It costs us many men." Marcus waved a hand, annoyed. "They are insects. Crush them. Their world is ours. Their lives mean nothing. Show no mercy. It's none." He ended the call. He didn't care about lost soldiers. Viridia was a stepping stone. Crushing it quickly sent a message to other worlds. Resist Nova Thule and die. Far away, unseen by Marcus or the Viridians, a small dark ship slid quietly into the space near Viridia. It looked like a shadow against the stars. Inside, Kate Riley guided the ship with careful touches. Her screen showed the big, menacing shapes of Marcus's warships blocking the planet. She saw the Iron Fist, biggest of them all. Her instruments also showed the faint, flickering energy of Viridia's shields. like a fading light. "Okay, little ship," Kate whispered. "Be quiet, be dark." She flew carefully, like drifting smoke, around the big Dominion ships. They didn't see her. Her ship was made for hiding.
Ow.
She flew lower, closer to the green and blue planet. Soon, she saw the damage. Through her viewers, it was like looking down from a high mountain. She saw wide black scars on the land where forests once grew, burned. She saw cities, or what was left of them. Buildings were broken teeth. Roads were cut by deep cracks. She saw tiny figures running, flashes of weapons. She saw fires. One city, near a wide river, was under heavy attack. She zoomed in. Dominion soldiers in gray armor pushed forward, firing bright weapons. Viridian defenders, wearing simpler green clothes, fired back from behind broken walls and piles of stone. They were brave. But Kate saw many fall. She saw a group of people, women, children, old ones, being hurried into a large building. A blast hit near them. Dust and smoke swallowed them. Kate's hands clenched. It was terrible. She saw the palace. Its high towers were damaged. Smoke rose from one side. Around it, the shield shimmered weakly, like thin glass about to crack. Kate knew shields. This one wouldn't last another big hit. She recorded everything. The ships in space, the burning land, the brave, losing fight below. Her small ship flew unseen over forests, rivers, and more hurt cities. Everywhere was pain. Everywhere was loss. The Dominion was breaking the world. Her heart felt heavy. She had seen war before, but this felt like watching murder. After hours, Kate slipped her ship back into the dark space beyond the Dominion ships. She was safe. She set the course back to Admiral Shaw's fleet. Then, she opened a secure channel. Her face appeared on Shaw's screen aboard the Terra's Resolve. "Admiral Kate," said. Her voice was flat, trying not to show the sadness inside. "I've seen Viridia." Shaw leaned forward. "Report, Kate. It's bad, sir. Very bad." Kate took a breath. "The planet, it's bleeding. Cities are burning, forests gone. The enemy ships are everywhere, blocking everything. Their main ship is huge, the Iron Fist. General Marcus commands from there, and the people," Shaw asked quietly. "Brave," Kate said. "Fighting hard, but losing. Their shields around the capital, they are almost gone. If the Dominion hits them again with their big guns, the city, the palace, it will all be gone. Burned away." She paused. "The people are trying to hide underground. But I saw attacks near shelters. They don't have much time, Admiral. Days, maybe? Hours if the shields fail?" She sent the recordings. Shaw looked at the images, the fires, the fighting, the frightened faces. His own face was hard stone. "You did well, Kate. Come home." He ended the call. He looked at Laura Vance and his other officers. They had all seen Kate's report. The room was silent. The old promise echoed. "We will never forget this debt." Shaw stood up, set course for Viridia. "Maximum speed. Prepare all weapons. Tell every ship, we fight the moment we arrive." He looked at the image of the burning planet. "We remember. And we are coming." Deep under Viridia's palace, the air tasted like dust and fear. The queen stood by a shaking wall. Each boom from above made more dust fall. Young soldier, his face streaked with dirt, ran into the room. "Majesty, the eastern shield generator, it's gone. The shield over the city center is failing." A cold feeling washed over the queen. Without the shield, the big enemy ship in the sky could burn everything. She heard the sounds of fighting getting closer. Sharp cracks of enemy weapons, shouts, the heavy thud of falling stones. "Pull everyone back to the inner palace walls," she ordered, her voice surprisingly calm. "Prepare the last defenses." Above the city, the Dominion soldiers cheered. They pushed forward through the broken streets, firing their bright weapons. The Viridian fighters fell back, step by hard step, towards the palace gates. Hope seemed to drain away with the smoke rising into the dark sky. High above, General Marcus smiled on his ship, the Iron Fist. He watched the weak shield over the palace flicker like a dying candle. "Target the palace," he ordered. "Burn it to the ground. End this." The big gun on his ship began to glow a dangerous red. Power built up, humming through the ship. Down below, the Queen felt the air crackle. She looked up, knowing what was coming. She closed her eyes, holding the worn piece of cloth tightly. Was it just a story? Then space tore open. Not with a bang, but with a silent ripple, like a stone dropped into dark water. Huge shapes slid out, ships bigger than any Dominion ship. Sleek and gray, they looked powerful and calm. They carried the symbol of Earth, a blue circle with white land. At their head was the biggest ship, the Terra's Resolve. Inside, Admiral Daniel Shaw stood on the bridge, looking at the planet below. He saw the smoke, the fires, the enemy ships. "Open a channel," Shaw ordered. "All frequencies, Viridia and the Dominion."
Voice.
A voice filled the airwaves, reaching radios in the palace basement. Loudspeakers on Dominion ships, and even small devices held by fighters in the streets. It was Shaw's voice, clear and strong. "This is Admiral Daniel Shaw of the Terran Hegemony Fleet. People of Viridia, we hear your call. Novatuli Dominion forces, this is your only warning. Stand down. Cease fire immediately. Withdraw from Viridia." In the palace basement, the Queen gasped. She dropped the cloth. Soldiers froze, listening. Was it real? On the Iron Fist? General Marcus laughed, a harsh, ugly sound. "Terrans, sentimental fools. They come for a dead rock. Ignore them. Finish the palace fire." No. The big gun on the Iron Fist glowed brighter. It reached full power. A beam of pure destruction, thick and terrifyingly bright, shot towards the palace. The Queen saw it coming on a screen. She braced herself. The Viridian fighters below saw the light in the sky and knew it was death. Admiral Shaw saw it too. His face hardened. Protect the palace. Small ships near the Terra's Resolve darted forward. They didn't fire big guns. Instead, thousands of tiny points of light shot out from them, forming a shimmering net between the Iron Fist's beam and the planet. The deadly beam hit the net of light. It didn't explode. It didn't burn through. The net flared brilliant white, sparkling like stars. It swallowed the huge beam, scattering its energy harmlessly into a million tiny sparks that faded away before they even touched Viridia's atmosphere. It looked like a shield made of light had caught a falling star. Silence fell over the battlefield. The fighting below stopped. Viridian fighters stared up, mouths open. Dominion soldiers looked confused, then scared. The beam meant to kill the Queen and everyone in the palace was just ... gone. Dissolved into nothing. General Marcus stared at his screen. His smile vanished. What? What was that? How? He slammed his fist on his chair. All ships, target those Terran vessels. Destroy them. Dominion warships turned their weapons away from Viridia. Bright beams and missiles flew towards Shaw's fleet. The Terran ships didn't panic. They moved smoothly like dancers. Their own defenses activated. More nets of light appeared. They caught beams, making them spark and fade. Small, fast Terran ships shot out, firing precise bursts of energy. They struck Dominion missiles, making them explode harmlessly far from their targets. Other Terran ships fired back with beams that struck Dominion shields, making them ripple and strain under the force. It wasn't a messy brawl. It was controlled, precise, almost beautiful. The Terran fleet protected itself easily while shielding the planet below. No Dominion weapon touched a Terran ship. No stray fire hit Viridia. Down in the palace basement, the young soldier who brought the bad news about the shield was now crying. Tears cut tracks through the dirt on his face. "They came," he whispered. "The Stardash people, ... they really came." The Queen picked up the old cloth from the floor. She held it to her chest, her own tears falling freely now. Not tears of fear, but of overwhelming relief and a strange, deep joy. She looked at the screen, showing the sky battle. The Terrans were fighting, not just for themselves, but for them. The old story was true. Terra remembered. They answered. She watched the Terran ships move like guardians, blocking every attack aimed at her world. For the first time in months, the cold stone of hope in her chest felt warm. She wasn't alone. Her people weren't alone. Help had arrived from the stars just as the old cloth promised. The debt was remembered. The battle in space continued. Terran ships moved like swift fish, dodging Dominion fire. Their shields, nets of sparkling light, caught the big enemy beams. Smaller Terran ships darted in, firing quick, sharp bursts. They hit Dominion ships, making their shields glow bright and shake. One smaller Dominion ship exploded in a silent flash. Another drifted away, dark and broken. On his big ship, the Iron Fist, General Marcus screamed, "Fight back! Destroy them!" He watched his ship struggle. The Terrans were too fast, too strong. His own weapons seemed useless against their defenses. Fear, cold and sharp, started to prickle under his anger. This wasn't supposed to happen. Admiral Shaw watched the battle calmly from the Terra's resolve. His fleet was winning, protecting Viridia, but he knew this wasn't enough. Just winning the fight wouldn't repay the old debt. He turned to Laura Vance. "Is it ready?" Laura Vance stood near a strange machine on another Terran ship, the Remembrance. This ship looked older, heavier than the others. Inside its main room sat a huge device covered in old metal and glowing lights. It hummed with deep power. This was the Genesis array. Laura checked her screens. Ryan Carter, the engineer, gave her a thumbs up. His face was sweaty from hard work. "Yes, Admiral," Laura answered Shaw. "The array is ready, but... What is our target? We cannot hurt Viridia." Shaw looked at the planet below, saw the burning city, the brave defenders near the palace. He saw something else on a map Laura sent him. "There," Shaw said, his voice hard. "The Dominion Fortress. On the ground, it's built on the ruins of Sanctuary City." Sanctuary City, the place where centuries ago, the Viridians first sheltered the lost Terrans. Now the Dominion had built their biggest base right on top of those ruins. It was a huge, ugly building made of dark metal. From there, they sent soldiers to attack the capital. It was a symbol of their cruelty. "And the Iron Fist," Shaw added, looking at Marcus's flagship looming near Viridia's large moon. "He built his strength on broken promises and stolen ground." "We erased that insult," Laura understood. Targeting the ground fortress and the flagship Iron Fist, the array can handle both. She and Ryan worked fast, setting the coordinates. The huge machine hummed louder. Lights pulsed deep inside it. Down in the palace basement, the Queen and her soldiers watched the sky battle on their screens. They saw Terran ships protecting them. Hope was growing. Then, they noticed the old-looking ship, the Remembrance. It moved slowly away from the fighting. Strange energy began to gather at its front. A swirling point of light, glowing brighter and brighter. It shone with colors no one had names for. It felt old and powerful. "What is that?" the Queen whispered, holding her breath. General Marcus saw it too on his screen. "That ship? Target it." "Destroy it now," he yelled. Dominion ships turned their guns towards the Remembrance. Beams of energy shot towards it, but Terran ships moved quickly. They placed themselves between the Remembrance and the enemy fire. Their sparkling shield nets flared brightly, catching the beams meant for the old ship. The Remembrance kept gathering power, untouched. The point of light grew until it was blinding. "It's ready, Admiral," Laura reported. "Do it," Shaw ordered. On the Remembrance, Laura pressed a button. Ryan pulled a large lever. The Genesis array fired. It didn't shoot a beam like a weapon. It released a wave. A wide river of the impossible. Shimmering colors poured out from the ship. It flowed silently through space. It moved faster than light. The wave touched General Marcus's flagship, the Iron Fist, first. The huge ship didn't explode. It didn't break apart. It simply came undone. The hard metal turned soft like sand. Then the sand turned into fine dust. The dust spread out, thin and harmless, sparkling for a moment in the sunlight before vanishing completely. General Marcus had just enough time to see his hands begin to turn to dust before he and his entire ship were gone, erased. The wave continued. It flowed down towards Viridia. It passed through the atmosphere like a gentle wind. It reached the ground, flowing straight towards the huge Dominion fortress built on the ruins of Sanctuary City. Dominion soldiers inside the fortress saw the wave of colors coming. They screamed, tried to run. But the wave touched the fortress walls. The dark metal didn't melt or burn. It flowed like thick mud. The whole massive structure slumped. It sank into the ground. The ground itself began to churn and move like water. Stones, metal, everything that was the fortress, swirled and mixed. It wasn't destruction. It was unmaking, changing. In seconds, the huge, hated fortress was gone. In its place, the ground kept moving. It sank lower, forming a huge, deep bowl. Then clean, clear water bubbled up from deep underground. It rushed in, filling the bowl. In moments where the fortress once stood, there was now a vast, beautiful lake. Sunlight glittered on its clean blue surface. It was a sudden, impossible gift of life and water. Up in space, the wave faded. The Genesis array stopped humming. The strange colors vanished. The remaining Dominion ships stopped firing. They hung silently in space. Their commanders stared at their screens in pure terror. One moment, the mighty Iron Fist was there. The next, it was dust. One moment, their main fortress stood on Viridia. The next, it was a lake. This power... it wasn't war. It was like the Terrans had changed the rules of the universe itself. A voice crackled over all Dominion ship radios. It was shaky, filled with fear. Dominion forces, we surrender. We surrender completely. Please... no more. On the ground, Viridian fighters near the palace looked towards where the fortress had been. They saw the sunlight reflecting off the new, huge body of water. They didn't understand how, but they understood the fortress was gone. The symbol of their pain was replaced by water, by life. Cheers started, weak at first, then growing into a roar of relief and joy that echoed through the broken streets. In her basement room, the Queen saw the new lake appear on her screen. She saw the Dominion ships surrendering. She looked at the old cloth in her hand, then up at the sky where the Terran ships still shone. Her tears fell freely now, tears of wonder and overwhelming gratitude. The debt wasn't just paid, it was answered in a way that changed her world forever. Silence fell over Viridia. The terrible booms of weapons stopped. In the broken streets near the palace, Viridian fighters slowly lowered their guns. They looked towards the horizon, where the huge, hated Dominion fortress used to be. Now, sunlight sparkled on a vast new lake of clear blue water. It seemed impossible. It was beautiful. A soldier pointed, his hand shaking. Look, the fortress. It's gone. Water. There's water. People started to murmur. Then someone cheered. It was a small sound at first, tired and weak. But others joined in. More voices rose. Soon a wave of cheers and shouts of joy rolled through the ruined streets. People hugged each other, cried and laughed. The symbol of their pain was washed away, replaced by life-giving water. The impossible had happened. High above, the remaining Dominion ships hung in space, dark and still. Their weapons were silent. On the bridge of the Terra's Resolve, Admiral Shaw watched his screens. Messages flashed from every Dominion vessel. They were all the same. We surrender, we surrender. Please accept. Accept their surrender. Order them to power down weapons and engines. Prepare boarding teams. He felt no joy in victory, only a deep relief. The immediate threat was over. The debt was being paid. He turned to Laura Vance on the screen from the remembrance. The array. Shut down and secure, Admiral, Laura reported. She looked tired but satisfied. Ryan Carter stood beside her, wiping grease from his hands, a small smile on his face. The ancient machine had done its work. Good work, both of you, Shaw said. He took a deep breath. It was time for the final message. Open a channel to Viridia, to the Queen. Down in the palace basement, the Queen heard the cheers outside. Tears still streamed down her face. On her screen, she saw the new lake, a miracle of blue. Then, Admiral Shaw's face appeared. He looked weary but kind. Your Majesty, Shaw began, his voice calm and clear. The Nova Thule Dominion forces have surrendered. Their ships are being secured. Their soldiers on the ground will lay down their arms. Viridia is free. A fresh wave of emotion hit the Queen. Free. The word felt strange and wonderful. She tried to speak, but only a whisper came out. Thank you. Shaw shook his head gently. Do not thank us, Your Majesty. We are repaying a debt owed for generations. He looked directly at her. Centuries ago, when Terrans crashed on your world, lost and weak, your people showed us kindness. You shared your food, your water, your shelter, when you had little. You saved Terran lives. You asked for nothing in return." He paused, letting the old story sink in again. The captain of that lost ship promised, "We will never forget this debt." Today we kept that promise. Humanity does not forget a kindness. Shaw gestured towards the image of the new lake that appeared beside him on the Queen's screen. "We saw the pain the Dominion caused. We saw the fortress they built on the ruins of Sanctuary City, the place where your ancestors first sheltered ours. We could not simply remove the invaders. We had to answer the darkness with light. We had to heal the wound they made." He looked at the shimmering water. That lake. It is not just water. It is life where there was death. It is hope where there was despair. It is our answer. It's a symbol that the debt is paid. May it remind you, and all who see it, that compassion echoes across the ages, and humanity answers. The Queen looked at the lake on her screen, then down at the old cloth in her hand. The cloth given by the Star Captain so long ago, she understood now. The Terrans hadn't just sent soldiers, they had sent a miracle. They had reshaped her world to wash away the evil. "We will remember," she said, her voice stronger now. "We will remember your answer, as you remembered our ancestors' kindness." Shaw gave a small, respectful nod. "We will leave aid teams and engineers. They will help rebuild your cities, fix your water systems, heal your land, but our fleet must go. Other duties call." The Queen understood. "You have given us back our world, Admiral Shaw, and you have given us back our future. We will never forget." "Nor will we, Your Majesty," Shaw replied. "Farewell. In good fortune to Viridia." His image faded from the screen. On the bridge of the Terra's Resolve, Shaw turned to his crew. Kate plot a course for the rally point. "Laura, Ryan, secure the Remembrance. Prepare the fleet for departure." The big Terran ships began to move. They turned away from Viridia, their engines glowing softly. They moved smoothly, without hurry, leaving the surrendered Dominion ships under guard from a few smaller Terran vessels. On the ground, people poured out of hiding places. They came into the broken streets, looking up at the sky. They saw the Terran ships leaving. They saw the sunlight glinting off their gray hulls. No one spoke. They simply watched, their faces filled with wonder and gratitude. The Queen walked slowly up from the basement. She stepped out onto a balcony of the damaged palace. The air still smelled of smoke, but she could also smell the clean scent of water from the distant new lake. She looked up as the last of the big Terran ships passed overhead, a silent, powerful shadow against the blue sky. She held the old cloth tightly. It wasn't just a story anymore. It was truth. A truth written in the stars, and now written on her world. The Terrans had come. They had remembered an ancient kindness. And their answer had not just saved Viridia. It had reshaped it. It turned a place of pain into a place of hope. A lake of life under the sun. Humanity never forgets a kindness. And their answer, the Queen knew, looking at the departing ships, could truly reshape planets. She watched until the last ship vanished into the bright sky, leaving behind a healed world and a promise kept across the centuries.